welcome to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. And thank you so much for joining us today. Today we have a great show, a fun show. Who doesn't like wood? Wood underwear. Terresa Zimmerman is our guest today, and she is the founder of Wood Underwear. Terresa, thank you so much for joining us.
I'm so happy to be here, Scott. Thank you.
That is awesome. So how did you get involved in the industry? The underwear.
Oh God, so first of all, let's just talk about why I'm here, right? So
Absolutely.
you wanna tell them the news, or should I?
I'm going to let you do that.
Okay, all right. Well, we got a new brand ambassador, Cowboy Scott, and he's going to be hanging out on his horse in wood underwear.
Absolutely. 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 And we love it. And thank you so much for the relationship and the partnership. And we do love it. It is I'll tell you what, it's tried and true, 9 hours in the saddle, and it still feels great, and it's just high quality. It's so comfortable, but I can't talk enough good things about it for sure. And I'm really honored to be
Love to hear it. Love to hear it.
part of
Yeah.
the team.
So how did I get involved in it? How did I get into men's underwear?
In the industry.
I mean, it's kind of a loaded question, right? I mean, I've been trying to get into men's underwear all my life. My whole life has turned into a pun fest since I've been doing this, right? In all seriousness, it happened, by accident, as many amazing things do. So I couldn't have written it, but it did follow a path. And there was a certain point, 2011, end of 2011 already. We've been around that long. I was exploring opportunities, did a bunch of collaborations. Wood underwear came out of or a version of wood underwear came out of it. I tried to ignore it. My husband wouldn't let me. So and then I thought, okay, well, how hard can it be to go sell a few pair of underwear? And 8 years later, almost 9 years later, here we are. So we started in January 2012, and it's been a journey, fun journey.
That's so exciting, though. It's so exciting you got to do it. You said I'm gonna get in this market, and I'm gonna be successful, and you did it. That's so wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if you've experienced this, but sometimes it's better to not know what you don't know.
Absolutely.
So, I think if you know too much, sometimes you would avoid a lot of it. But it has been so much fun. It's been great. I learned something, I would say, every day without exaggeration. I learned something every day.
That's the greatest part about being an entrepreneur and being in business is you learn. And if you want to learn, there's something there to learn for sure.
Yes.
For sure. So how did you come up with the name Wood Underwear?
Oh gosh, well, so we're having fun with it, right? So we're having fun with the metaphor, but there's more to the story. The fabric we deal with are like wood viscose fabrics, Tencel blends with cotton, Modal blends with cotton. Modal and Tencel are both wood viscose products. They offer the technical parts of the fabric, the wicking and the moisture control and the odor control and the thermoregulation properties. And you can start talking all kinds of technicalities. It's a German technology. Lenzing is the German company, and we blend it with cotton. And then it's just a matter of trying to catch somebody's eye with a name, right? And I think we do that really well. But then we back it up with a really great product.
Absolutely, it's terrific. And there's some that even have cashmere, correct?
Yes, we do a luxe line. We do one color every year for the holiday season. So we do a lounge pant and a lounge Henley. This year is a Henley, and a pair of underwear as well. In it's a cashmere Modal elastane blend. It's about 12% cashmere. So you can throw it in the washer and dryer. It's super cool. It's luxury, but affordable luxury.
It's a great product.
For that person who has everything, they do not have cashmere underwear, probably, but they should. They should.
Yeah, absolutely, they should. I'm a better person for it, I can tell you. Oh my goodness. So what did you do before Wood Underwear? What's your background?
My background is brand and marketing, all kinds of areas, lots of different agencies, and mostly dealing with B2B, corporate, big global businesses. about as far as you can get from anything to do with shopping and to do with men's underwear. So it is it's very different. But the principles of branding and marketing apply to everything, and so it's that part of it's comfortable for me, and everything else I'm having to learn. So
Yeah, well, it shows through the work. Everything is just great. Your social
yeah,
media platforms, and it's just
thank
easy
you.
and it's
Thank
fun.
you.
And,
Yeah,
and
I have a lot of amazing people helping too. So it's really been a labor of love.
that's awesome. So we have entrepreneurs watching, and we have some maybe wannabe entrepreneurs watching.
Okay.
So being successful in this industry and an entrepreneur, what are some of the tips? Maybe a learning experience you can help maybe shed some light on.
Be brave, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, you probably could say that too, right? With everything that you do. I mean, you've got to be brave, and you've got to, it's almost as simple as just start. You
Right.
just have to start.
Right.
You can do all kinds of risk mitigation. You can do all kinds of planning, but at the end of the day, you're not really going to know what you're up against and whether you're up for it until you start. Right. So for me, I'm not risk averse necessarily. I'm more, I have to think about being risk averse instead of thinking about just going and doing. So I kind of have the opposite of problem of many of my friends. So I've got the sign on my desk. It says, think, then jump, because it's my reminder that that's the order it probably should go in. So, so for me, if somebody says, yeah, you should go do it, they probably should say, hey, you should go plan that, right? Whereas I find myself telling people, yeah, you should just go do it, because they've already done all the planning. So
Right.
there's a little bit of both of those things.
Right. I think that's what makes you so special, is that you just get out there and you do it, and then you figure out a way to make it successful, and that's there's so many potential entrepreneurs. They just have to go out there and try it and work
Yeah.
really, really hard.
Yeah, and I think if you understand your own risk tolerances, then you can kind of, forget the business part of it, like your own personal and maybe family risk tolerances. Then you can allow yourself a little bit more freedom to do that. And then you've got to also be okay to fail, right? What's the worst thing that can happen, right? I
Absolutely.
mean, can I try this for a year? And if I can get it to this point, then yeah, I can continue, right? And then if it doesn't work, then don't beat yourself up. I mean, most endeavors aren't, not everybody gets to turn into the next Amazon or Apple, right? So,
Sure.
or Uber or whatever company you look up to. So it's, but there's a whole lot of small businesses out there that do super, super well that you can consider successful, even if they were only successful for 3 years and somebody decided, hey, I tried that. For me, it was successful, but time to shut down.
Yeah, that's right. You're so right. You got to do it. You got to follow your passion. That's the main thing. And
Yep.
it's good for people to see you, and that's why I was so excited to see you and hear from you and about a successful brand out there, because it is a journey. And it never really stops. I don't know how long you're in business. It doesn't really matter. But every single day, there's something else going on. And
right. Yeah. Well, I mean, so this is how much I didn't know when I started. I'm just going to give you a little insight into this. It's actually a little frightening, in talking about it so openly now, to think about that was my reality back, 9 years ago. So like I had product coming in from overseas into what I hoped I picked as the right port, right?
Oh my.
I had no idea how I was going to get it from that port to where. I didn't know what the processes were to do that. I mean, I figured there were people who specialized in that, and absolutely there are. I figured I was going to have to climb some fence, drag a truck in there, figure out which container it's in, drag it out, somehow get it to a storage unit, and I was going to be, picking and packing orders and taking them to the post office every day. That fortunately is not the case, but that's what I knew at the time, right? And so, and even it landed, and I have some amazing friends who when they heard what I was doing, they proactively called me and said, "Hey, what are you doing about 3PL?" And I'm going, what is 3PL? And what are you doing about warehousing? And what are you doing about this? And what are you doing about that? And I'm like, well, I don't even know what to do about those things. So you tell me what I'm doing. But the fact that when you talk to people, they will come to you with ideas and knowledge, right? So it's like, don't hide the fact that you don't know everything, because people are always willing to help you create your dreams, right? So then the other part to that is, once I got product, I didn't know how I was going to sell it. So at the time, I took sort of the online version of the Yellow Pages in the local area that I lived in. So I founded the company out of Hermosa Beach. So you see the surfboard in the background. I started selling underwear under a tent on the beach, right? To people who could care less about underwear, probably weren't wearing underwear, and certainly didn't want to talk to me about underwear, right? That's my sort of version of the two guys in a garage startup. But I also, in this online version of the Yellow Pages, I found what I considered men's stores. I didn't know there were such things as men's boutiques. I assumed, because women have boutiques. Right. And I drove all over Orange County, LA County, and I walked into stores with my little bag of samples and said, "Hey, do you want to see my underwear?" And that's kind of how I started this whole thing. And some of those people are some of my best customers even today, even though the product I had at the time was not up to par. So, but it was relationship driven, and that's part of what I love too about this business.
Absolutely. Relationships are everything. And I think you said everything right there, is just asking for people and letting people know what you're doing, and they'll get in the fight with you, and they want to help.
They will. Yeah. I mean, even my customers get in the fight with me. They're like, "No, Teresa, you got to do this. You got to think about this. Do you know about trade shows?" I'm like, "Well, I know I try to avoid trade shows when I've been told to go to them with clients in other parts of the business." But they're like, "Oh no, there's these things called men's clothing trade shows." I'm like, "Oh, wow. Okay. So let's figure out where those are. How do we get to those?"
Right. Well, that just shows you have to be nimble in this deal. And when people give you a good idea, you kind of have to go with it, and
yeah, absolutely. And ask questions. And when people say something to you, it's okay to not know.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Even though I started a business and you'd think I would have done that kind of planning. I mean, this is why it's frightening for me to talk about like this right now, is like, okay, you were super, super naive. I didn't even know what questions to ask.
Oh man. Well, I love the hook. Let's talk about underwear.
Okay. Let's talk about underwear. Yeah. You want to talk about underwear right now?
Absolutely.
You've seen my underwear.
Absolutely.
You've worn my underwear, Scott.
I do every day. Every day. I lost my train of thought.
You're blushing a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. It got warm in the room. I don't know. So fun facts. I love that on the website. And can we talk just a little bit about things maybe you've learned throughout the time, and you like the average age of a man's underwear, and just fun things.
Yeah. So I think the statistic is maybe a few years old, but I think it still resonates, right? It might have a little variation on it, but it was a couple years ago, it was put out in one of the major magazines that the average age of a man's underwear drawer is 7 years old, right? And I know. So when I say this in mixed company, men and women together, the women are going, cringing, going, ugh, and the guys are going, yeah, that's about right. Maybe older, right? So, but within 24, 48 hours a week, whatever it is, if a woman is living with one of these guys that has an old underwear drawer, you can bet it's been cleaned out.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Exactly.
Yeah. That's right. So, it's underwear is, nobody wants to think about it. It's such a basic, but people who have never worn good underwear don't actually know what it does for you. Right. But when you try a pair of good underwear, whether it's wood or something else, I hope it's wood, that they're like, oh, wow, okay, I get it. It makes everything else I've spent so much time and effort buying and spending money on and spending my time on feels so much better and looks so much better. And, you know, it's the first thing you put on. It's the last thing you take off.
So let's talk about horses. So
Oh, okay.
we're going to jump from underwear to horses back to underwear. So,
If
so
you have bad underwear on a horse, it can probably feel pretty bad.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you grew up riding.
I did.
So what discipline and what did you do?
So high school, most of high school, I mean, all of high school, I had my little Mustang, my Mustang, she was more of a mutt, but she was at least half Mustang. Little Midnight was her name, black with a beautiful white blaze. And she and I did Gymkhana events. So all local. I did not have a trailer, so a girlfriend and I would sometimes, no joke, have to ride 3 hours one way to get to these events, and then ride 3 hours back at the end of a very long, hot day in Southern California. And then if we won anything big that we couldn't carry, feed or hay or whatever, we'd have to beg, borrow, and plead that for somebody to drop it off somewhere where we could also have somebody pick it up for us. So it was a blast. She, Midnight kept me out of a lot of trouble that I probably could have gotten in high school.
It's good. So that was your wing person, your wing horse.
She and my girlfriend and we were, my wing person. She kept me out of trouble. I don't know if wing people or wing women, wing men keep you out of trouble necessarily. Sometimes they help you get into trouble.
Absolutely.
But she certainly, I know she kept me out of some trouble.
That's wonderful. And that's commitment, riding a horse 3 hours to go to the show. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. You know, and it's not even, doesn't even have to be that far. I mean, I went to high school in a little unincorporated area between Riverside and San Bernardino counties, and close to Norco. Most of our, I guess, bigger events, further events were Norco. So yeah, some of those we had to ride 3 hours from our little place to go get to, and through the washes, and yeah, just fun. A whole other side of Southern California than people know about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
cool.
but I have a big love of horses, and I think I don't remember if I told you this exactly, but not too long ago, I was in a situation where I had some time during the day, and I decided I wanted to learn jumping. So I grew up Gymkhana, right? So all Western saddle. I mean, I've got team ropers in the family, so it's all been Western saddle oriented. And so I go and have to decide if I can ride in an English saddle, which was actually not that big a deal, but turning right became a problem. It's the weirdest thing. It's not that you can't do it, because a lot of Gymkhana events, you know, you'll have two lefts and a right, so you still have a right, but it's not your focus.
Right.
Every time you go around an arena for team roping or whatever, most of you going left in a Western saddle.
Absolutely.
So it's like, wow. I mean, my coach at the time, he's like, you just need to go right. I'm like, I'm trying to go right. It just doesn't work. So it's not natural to me to have to make a right turn all the time. So anyways, just so funny, just a learning experience for myself. I never thought about it before.
Absolutely. So was that the bigger learning experience, or was it going into men's underwear, luxury underwear?
No, men's underwear for sure.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Think so.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
with the branding, you know, you can just tell the branding is so great, and it's, the colors are so bright. It looks good. It feels good to wear, but it does look good. So as far as promotions, I know you've had a lot of promotions. You're so great at marketing. What are some of your more fun promotions that you've done to, you know, market, you know, wood underwear?
Oh God. So a couple things. So one, we build our product and our packaging and our color palettes for men, right? So we try to make it not breakable. So if you're doing your own laundry or whatever, you can't break it. The packaging is pizza box style. Everybody knows how to open a pizza box, right? Our color palette, there we sort of have a locker room test, but it really starts with sort of collegiate colors. So if you look across the country, we start with collegiate colors everybody knows and loves. And I can't sell orange in Alabama, for example, in Southern Alabama. But the locker room test, we don't get too crazy with our fashion prints and stuff, because it is a matter of, making men feel comfortable, staying on the sexy side of sex, not sex, but sexy, not being a little bit provocative, but not, not going too far. Right.
Right.
Now, having said that, we have sponsored men's volleyball teams on the beach volleyball teams, and they play in underwear. So there is a very competitive volleyball tournament in Manhattan Beach called the Sakely Six-Man, and certainly in years past it has been seriously over the top, highly competitive players, world-class athletes, and they dress in costume. So you've got people out there from major sports athletes, Olympic athletes, playing in like bumblebee costumes or French maids outfits or whatever. So our guys play in wood underwear. So it sounds a little provocative, but they're not the most wild thing out there. So it's been kind of fun that way.
Oh, that's so great. That's so great. They probably look a lot better than a bumblebee too, don't they? Oh my goodness. So what's next for Wood Underwear? What's next for you? What's the plans for 2021?
Well, 2021, we hope our stores can open back up and be healthy. We love our stores. We love Main Street. We have a website as well, woodunderwear.com, but we really love our stores. Main Streets, they're the lifeblood of America. They're the lifeblood of our neighborhoods and our towns across the United States. So it's really about, how do we support these guys in getting back to business and getting back to their business of business. And, we do whatever we can to support them too. So it's going to probably be more of the same. We've done a little bit of regrouping this year around our offering. It's been an opportunity actually to do that. So if you find, the lemonade out of the lemons this year, that has been it. So that we can tailor a little bit more to customer need and their customers' needs too. So that's more of the same in 2021. We'll be introducing probably some new products towards the end of the year, always new color palettes.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah,
Well, I love the website. So when people want to buy wood underwear, I'm sure they're going to want to. I'm sure there's already a big following for y'all, but there's going to be hopefully a new group of people wanting wood underwear. And how do they find you? So I know the website is Wood Underwear, and they can buy online. And as far as stores, there's a store locator. Is that correct?
There's a store locator. We are in roughly 300 stores across the United States. We're fairly evenly distributed. So, you probably can find somebody close to you, or even call them up and, use their .com. We can support stores that way by going direct to these small store websites too, or just calling them and having them deliver. But both ways, store locator and woodunderwear.com. And then we do have a special code. I don't know if you want to tell everybody about it, or
that's true. Yeah, you can do it. That's great. Yeah.
Okay. So for the rest of 2020, if you go to woodunderwear.com at checkout, you can use the code. It's Cowboy 2020 with a capital C. So capital C, Cowboy 2020. It's like all one word. And that gives you a 20% discount to try something. And by the end of the year, it applies to the whole website. So hopefully people can take advantage of that and go give us a shot.
Absolutely. And I can't say enough great things about it. And I love the promo code. And I really am honored just to be a part of the team. And I appreciate you being on the show today.
Absolutely. I can't wait for people at NFRs to ask you if you're wearing wood underwear, if you can show them your underwear.
You know what? For the brand, I guess we'll have to. I'm sure I'm going to be asked. I'll tell you what, once we announced it on our social media, the phone was ringing and people were asking about it for sure.
Good.
And it's just a great brand, and I appreciate everything you're doing. Thanks for being on the show.
We appreciate you very much. We're excited to get to work with you.
Yeah, us too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.